Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafb.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Growers in Southwest Virginia are wrapping up harvest of some of our favorite vegetables. A fresh salad in the winter? Chef Tammy Brawley shows us how. And we visit Botetourt County to see how farmers there are adapting to growth.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from Sneed's Nursery in Chesterfield County, where they're ready for fall. Some of the tastiest vegetables hail from the mountains in Southwest Virginia. Ricky Gibson reports the colder weather is not a problem for cole crops. In fact, they thrive in them.
The cole crops are the cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, kale. There's probably more, but we grow only cabbage. My grandfather grew cabbage, I guess, back in the 40s, and my dad and my uncle, they've grown cabbage all their life, all my life, and we're just focused on the cabbage.
Actually, Alan Banks also raises pumpkins and cattle on his Carroll County farm, but cabbage is a major crop for him. Like many produce growers in the mountains of Southwest Virginia, he's been busy all summer raising cool season crops, or cole crops, to meet a growing demand from consumers.
If you back up 15 years ago, we didn't grow them. I mean, there might have been somebody with a quarter-acre patch or something, but we didn't grow them. It was just something that a friend of ours who's a buyer with a major chain store in the United States kept on asking me and the Department of Ag rep here in this area about getting somebody to grow them, and we kind of talked some of the cabbage growers into putting them in their fields, and some of them liked them enough. They started growing more and more quantity, and it's been a good deal for some. You know, it's went from, like I say, basically nothing crop to $1.5 million, $2 million crop for the county, so that's been important.
Carroll County's 2 interstate highways allow cole crops to be shipped by truck to almost 70% of the nation's population within 10 hours. And the climate is perfect for them.
The other thing, because we're on top of this mountain, we got some elevations, we're 10 degrees cooler than, 15 miles down the road here at the foot of the mountain, okay? So it makes a big difference in what we can grow, especially on these cole crops, what we want to talk about today. Cabbage, the greens, the broccoli, the cauliflower, all that stuff tends to do a little better up here because it's cooler and you have cooler nights as well.
Like many agriculture sectors, farmers here had to adapt to this year's pandemic when the growing season was just starting. And then there's always the weather.
Well, from the beginning, our help got held up at the border at the consulate office. And they were about 4 to 5 weeks late getting here, and we had to get local help to scrounge around and start the planting process. But we finally got them here and got started, and it's been, other than that, training and trying to worry and fret over keeping them straight, hopefully not catch the virus. That's been the biggest issue. Just a lot of worry and stress is what the COVID's affected us.
On the COVID side, one of the things that's happening, we are spending time in training on how to handle the COVID situation, how to handle it if you have it, how to handle it to prevent it, and how to detect it. We go through the procedure start of every shift on temperature and questions.
The rain's been a pain. We had a good early season, or early crop, and then when the rain affected us, it really hurt our crop a lot. We lost some. We lost some. We just couldn't keep up with the weeds, because weeds will take your cabbage crop if you're not careful. And then the later crops have been real nice. So it's kind of like a high, low, high is what we're dealing with this year.
Meanwhile, demand for fresh produce like cole crops has been through the roof this year.
The COVID has caused our product to be in demand. People's eating at home. Our product is mostly consumed at people's homes, and it's really jumped up. This is late season for us. We typically are not harvesting collards or kale or mustard and turnips this time of year. but the demand raising so much that we are having an opportunity here late in the year to harvest.
If there's a good side to COVID, it's actually probably helped the demand for local product and just local produce in general, because you've seen more people cooking at home, number one, a lot more canned and froze product for the winter months, so it's actually helped the sales.
Like all Virginia farmers, the produce growers of Southwest Virginia are still farming despite the pandemic. All they ask for is better weather next year. In Carroll County, Virginia, I'm Ricky Gibson reporting.
Cabbage is raised on 263 farms in Virginia, and broccoli is grown on 221 farms. Southwest Virginia is not the only place cold crops are grown, but it's earned a reputation for quality vegetables over the decades. Cabbage is grown on 520 acres in Carroll County alone, representing about 2/3 of the total 825 acres devoted to that crop. Virginia is not a major vegetable producing state, but producers have done a good job of expanding their local markets and filling in the cracks in production cycles up and down the East Coast over the growing season.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about how to save money on your fall garden mums from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
We're stronger together, especially at this difficult time. For over 90 years, we've watched our membership grow, and we're honored to be part of such a special community. Thank you to the farmers who provide for us every day. Virginia Farm Bureau is proud to serve our members, their families, and to give back to our local communities. That's the Farm Bureau way.
Brightly colored chrysanthemums are decorating millions of Virginia doorsteps this fall. Chris Mullins with Virginia Cooperative Extension says there's much more you can do with this hardy plant from the ground up.
Well, hi and welcome. Today we're at Pineview Greenhouses in Jarrett, Virginia, and we're going to be talking about fall garden mums or hardy garden mums. And believe it or not, these can be perennial in a lot of Virginia. So it's something to think about. We'll talk about that a little bit later, about how you might use them in the landscape. But when you're thinking in the fall about decorating, sometimes you'll think about mums. They pair well with straw bales and pumpkins and pansies to decorate with. And when you come to a garden center or nursery like this, you're going to find hundreds and hundreds of mums. And they're all so beautiful, and they do so well for you. You're going to see lots of different colors, the yellows, the reds, the bronze, purples, so many different colors out there that you can surely find one that you like. One of the other things that you need to think about when you're choosing a garden mum is the maturity. So if you look at this particular mum right here, you're going to see that it's in pretty much full bloom, and these blooms are probably going to last for about 2 weeks. This one here is going to be a much tighter buds, has not even showing color yet, so you can barely even tell what color this one's going to be. And so it'll last a lot longer, and it'll bloom a little bit later than this particular type. When you look at mums, they're also at the garden center like this, you're going to see different containers. This particular one and the one here have more of a disposable nursery pot. This is something you would take out of the pot and put in your landscape. Because it's not particularly attractive, but it's fine. And then you also see mums are planted a lot of times in more decorative containers, like the hanging basket or like this decorative pot, that are meant to go right on the patio, right on the deck, or on the stoop. That will give you an immediate gratification, because it's really pretty and it's sitting right there. So why don't we go now and talk a little bit about how you might be able to save money on these mums. Well, mums in most of Virginia are going to be perennial. That means that they're going to come back after you've planted them in the fall. They'll kind of die back and come back in the springtime. So I guess that makes them a zombie plant, which is kind of interesting. And they will. After you plant them, you'll notice that they're going to die back. The blooms will die back. The stems and the leaves will die back. And they'll kind of look a little bit like this. Not too attractive, but you can cut this off, cut the whole thing off down to the ground, because what you really want to keep alive is the root zone. I would think about marking it, though, wherever it is in the landscape, because you might want to dig that area up and not even know it's there next year. But if you leave this on, it might add a little bit of protection to the root zone. Sometimes you can also mulch. Adding a little bit of layer of mulch here will help protect it, especially in colder parts of the state of Virginia. And what you want to think about, too, is maybe watering this. Keep watering it all the way to the first hard freeze. You want to keep this root ball alive. Now in the springtime, this will start sending up shoots, and you'll notice it's starting to grow, usually in May or so. And it will generally bloom a little earlier than it did when you got it in the fall. So you can kind of delay that bloom a little bit by pinching some of the growing points back sometime in early to mid-summer, and that'll just delay that bloom time a little bit. But either way, you've got mums, you bought them, they're beautiful in the fall, you put them in the ground, and then they'll come back for you next year. Well, for more information about growing mums, contact your local county extension office and talk to a master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.
Coming up, winter squash salad straight from the garden on Virginia Heart of the Home.
And now, a sneak peek into a day in the life of a Virginia dairy cow. They get their day started. They have some lunch. Get some exercise. Spend time with their friends. And then end their day with dairy sweet dreams. Real dairy, real life, real delicious.
As we head into the colder months, you might think salad season is over. Chef Tammy Brawley has a recipe to change your mind, featuring winter squash in the heart of the home.
I'm Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen, and we are here at a special outdoor edition at Old Tavern Farm in New Kent. I am here today to show you how to eat healthy in the winter. We have a delicious winter squash salad we're going to be making with a fall flavored dressing. I'm very excited to show you that. So we're going to start with our dressing, and what we're going to do is we are going to turn our burner on, and we're going to add 3 tablespoons of maple syrup to our little small pot. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of water. And then here comes some nice warm spices. We have got a cinnamon stick, allspice berries, a clove, and a star anise. Star anise, these things are found kind of in your Asian markets, but we're going to throw those in there. And we're going to let that simmer for about 3 minutes or so. It's going to get a little thick. And then you want to add about a half a teaspoon of fresh ginger. Ginger is absolutely one of the healthiest things you can eat, and this is what it looks like in the store, minus a little bit of peel. You do want to peel that off. Take a grater or a rasp and scrape that into your dressing that's in the pot. In the meantime, we'll talk about the squashes that go on top of this delicious salad. Today we're using a spaghetti squash. We're using a butternut squash and an acorn squash. When you get these squashes, I know they're very difficult to cut, and I always like to give the tip that if you put them in the microwave for about 3 to 5 minutes, they will soften up and they're much easier to cut, much easier to peel, much easier to split. And what happens when you get them is they all have seeds in the middle of them. So once you have cut it in half, then you want to scrape those seeds out with a spoon. Well, at least with the butternut, you want to actually peel the butternut and then cut it into dice it. The spaghetti squash can be roasted whole after you've taken out the seeds. When you roast them, you want to go face down, cut side down on a pan. You want to toss them with a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and then put them in about a 400 degree, 425, depends on your oven, and then let them roast. And then what we've got here is we've got the spaghetti squash we've already scraped. But what happens is once it's roasted, this is what it looks like. You want to simply scrape out your squash. And then the acorn squash is one of the squashes that's actually edible with the skin. So I don't actually peel that one. I cut it into slices, put it again in the oven, the same temperature. And then when they're roasted, they are absolutely delicious flavor. So now this is thickened up a little bit. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to strain it. This is that delicious dressing. We're going to strain that into a container with a lid. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And we're going to add about a 1/3 cup of walnut oil. There's also pumpkin oil out there. If you can find it, it's absolutely delicious in the fall as well. But a walnut oil is a little lighter, very nutty, of course. And we want to add that to our container with a lid. Now you can certainly do this with a hand mixer if you'd like. I simply like to find a vessel that has a lid, and I'll shake it up. And what we're doing basically is we're emulsifying. We're trying to get two liquids together that don't want to get married, and that's the oil and the vinegar. So now we've got maple syrup, apple cider vinegar, we've got star anise, cinnamon, cloves. Oh, absolutely delicious. And then you want to take some nice greens, put them into a bowl. Sort of out of camera there, sorry about that. And we want to dress it very lightly. Anytime you dress a salad, whether it's summer or winter, you don't want a lot of dressing. You just want it kind of glistening. So we're going to toss that up a little bit. Then have your plate ready to plate. Oh, this looks perfect. These beautiful greens, grown right here in Virginia. We absolutely love that. And then you want to come on top of these greens with your delicious squash that you've roasted. And then one of the most delicious things about this salad that I love to work with is candied pecans. I love to take the pecans. There'll be directions in the recipe when you access that. The pecans are a little bit of sugar, cinnamon, and a little bit of egg white put into a low temperature oven for about an hour. So you've given this squash, or this salad, excuse me, a little bit of sweetness as well, in addition to the sweetness of the squash. So there you have it, a delicious winter squash salad. Great way to stay healthy in the winter.
Recipes from the heart of the home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website, greenkitchenrichmond.com.
Virginia salad greens are now available almost year-round thanks to advancements in outdoor production and a major expansion of greenhouse operations. Many smaller producers use hoop houses or high tunnels to expand their growing season well into winter, only slowing down for hard freezes. And the state's greenhouse industry is booming. As of 2017, there were 294 farms with vegetable and herb greenhouse operations, with almost 2.5 million square feet under cover from the weather. Total sales for them came to $31.5 million, and more greenhouses are being built all the time.
Natural beauty and thriving farms. That's the world Botetourt County farmers live in. In this week's County Agricultural Close-Up, Burke Muller reports these producers are determined to keep it that way.
Botetourt County is located just north of Roanoke in southwest Virginia. The area is full of beautiful mountain ranges, and in the fall can show off some amazing colors in the foliage. Because of its proximity to the Roanoke metropolitan area, Botetourt's population is concentrated on its southern end, but local residents are okay with that.
Our Board of Supervisors, our county administrator have listened to the community, and that the community has told them they really want the northern end of the county to remain rural, and they've done a nice job of preserving that. But we definitely have seen a lot of growth on the southern end of the county.
Courtney Henderson is the sixth generation to work her family's property, and one of the few who are starting a dairy operation anywhere in the state. For her, following the life cycle of the animals raised on her property and nurturing them is what makes it all worthwhile.
You get to watch something literally start as a seed or an embryo and grow and mature, and you get to see its whole life out in front of you. You get to plant the seed and watch it grow over a duration of weeks to months. You get to watch a cow have its first calf, then watch that calf go from being a little old thing that doesn't weigh more than 60 pounds to suddenly being a full-grown 1,500-pound cow. It's great to see something that you really truly put your heart and soul into grow, proliferate, and thrive.
Henderson also understands that in order to coexist with her suburban neighbors, she has to be an advocate for agriculture.
We've got to learn to diversify, and on top of diversification, we also have to learn to adapt. We have to be open to the public wanting to ask us questions. We have to be more willing to work with the public instead of fighting against them. We have to be willing to change, and we have to be willing to adapt to what's around us. Diversifying can be simple as, let's do some more farm tours, let's plant Christmas trees one year, let's try different things to try to get the public more involved in order to make it.
We've seen a lot of people that are really interested in knowing where their food comes from and being a little bit more food independent or food secure. So we've seen a lot of folks that have that have purchased small pieces of property and started a home garden or started a small flock of laying hens or some backyard poultry, even some small ruminants and goats and sheep. That's not something we've traditionally been in. But as new folks have decided to dip their toes into the agriculture water, that's where they seem to be starting on really small acreages and doing stuff like that.
Botetourt County has a total of 551 farms spread out over 88,842 acres. The market value of all agricultural products is $14,055,000. Livestock accounts for more than 2/3 of that at $10,005,000. Of that, cattle and calves make up $7,625,000, while dairy comes in at $1,911,000. The crop sector contributes $4,049,000. Fruits, tree nuts, and berries bring in $1,480,000, while grains account for $1,425,000. Hay and other crops come in at $1,063,000. The James River forms at the border of Botetourt and Allegheny counties and is a prominent feature of the landscape throughout Botetourt as the water makes its way to Richmond and on to the Chesapeake Bay. The river comes right up to Mike Seibel's property, where he raises between 500 and 600 head of cattle on 550 acres. He's seen a lot in his 60 years on the farm and remains positive about Botetourt County's agriculture future.
I'd say it's pretty good. I mean, the way agriculture is now, you can raise more cattle, per acre than you used to be able to. I mean, just for the technology you got, and things are easier now with equipment and everything.
With all its natural beauty, there's plenty of opportunity for agritourism operations in Botetourt County. Barbara Kolb Holiday didn't need a lot of convincing.
We were escapees from Northern Virginia, and I saw this piece of land and I said, this is it.
The views on her property are spectacular. She says many of her customers come from out of state and find her vineyard by searching the web, sometimes from unlikely places such as Montana. They've been growing grapes for 35 years and see a bright future ahead for welcoming visitors.
I think there's a great opportunity for agritourism, agriculture in Botetourt County. I think that people are looking at niches. I mean, there's nothing commercial on our river. It's just pristine. We've got a lot of pristine country, and I think that people are searching for some real life, and I think we've got it.
The people of Botetourt are celebrating the county's 250th anniversary in 2020, and they're determined to make agriculture an important part of its next 250 years. In Botetourt County, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.
We're so glad you could join us this week to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah. Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.